Hey, what's up YouTube? Evan Star here, and welcome back to our series on how to play Anima tactics. So, from last time, we went ahead and built our parties. We went through how to build your party, how to do your advantage cards, and then we also rolled our scenario. So, I figured at this point it's probably a good idea to go ahead and just start with our play example, work our way through our play example. And then, as things are happening, probably the best way to show somebody is on the job. So these are our nodes. I set up only 3 nodes for this game, and we are playing on a very small table so that things can happen quite quickly. Object of the game is to control more nodes than your opponent does, and for each turn that you do control more nodes than your opponent, you will gain 1 point towards the victory conditions of this scenario. So this scenario does use the victory point conditions, but each player also will receive an additional 50 victory points per power point that they have gained during the game. So you gain a point during the game that turns into 50 points towards your total at the end of the game. Okay, so general deployment rules, which is called out for in this scenario, is a little bit different than what I have set up here. Typically, like I said, games of Anima Tactics are played on a 4x4 size table, in which case your general deployment rule will be a 24-inch across deployment zone with an 8-inch in. So you go 8 inches into the table, 24 across, and that typically makes up your deployment zone. You can see that actually gives the players and the characters quite a bit of room to work around, and you can do lots of different types of terrain to make that interesting. However, for our purposes here, I pushed all the terrain back just as a backdrop so that we can see what's going on without too much interaction with terrain. And I actually do have one of the nodes though on terrain just so that we can see a little bit of that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll dice for each side. The black die here will be for the dark side, the yellow die will be for the light side, and we're going to go ahead and roll to go first. But before we do that, we have a couple things that we need to do before the game starts. Lorenzo is going to start with 3 power tokens, as his card dictates that he does. But then he's also going to reveal that he has taken this Orb of Power, and that's going to give him a 4th token. So Lorenzo's going to start the game with 4 power tokens, which is quite nice. And then the other thing that we're going to do is we're going to have Alessa Raincross start with her Upkeep ability in play. So she's going to be stealthed. She can go into stealth as long as she's not in an enemy character's control zone, which is 8 inches around that character. She is not at this point, so I'm going to put a little marker on her saying that she's starting the game stealth, and I'm going to pay 1 AP for that to take effect. Okay, so our turn is about to start here. The turns are broken into 3 phases. The first phase is the recovery phase. Second phase is your upkeep phase, which I actually skipped already too and paid for Alessa's upkeep there to go stealth. And then the third phase is your action point phase, or your activation phase. Sorry. So during the recovery phase, you would normally straighten all of your player cards. Then you would recover all of their action points, which we have. It's at the start of the game. It is going to be the blue marked action dots plus 1. That's what your character starts with. And then we're going to recover our Gnosis points. This is a 140 level game, so we're going to each have 1 Gnosis point. And so then we go to the upkeep phase, where we remove state counters, remove bind points, and make stability checks. We don't have any summons in this game. And then we'll pay all special abilities upkeep costs, which we just did, and determine initiative for the action phase. So that's where we're at right now. We're going to go ahead and determine initiative. I'm going to roll these two dice right here. Looks like we've got a 0 for the, or a 10 for the light side, and that was a 5 for the dark side. So the light side player is going to decide who's going to get to go first. In this case, I am going to have the light side player go first. Now you might be wondering why do you get the decision to go first or second? In some cases in Anima Tactics, going first isn't necessarily the best thing to do, and we'll see that in a moment here. Okay, so the first thing the light side player is going to do is they're going to activate Claire. So I've got Claire Adelheid right here. And the first thing she is going to do is she's going to spend 1 AP to take a walk action. So in this game, you can spend AP to take a walk, run, or charge action. Now, one thing to note is that you may only take one type of movement action per turn during your character's activation. So using my handy-dandy reference card here, whoa, walk action is going to cost me 1 AP, a run will cost me 2, a charge will cost me 3, and the charge will include the melee strike at the end if you're successful. The other thing that I would point out is the difference between walking and then running or charging is that walking, you can actually tack around, you can move, you can kind of zigzag around obstacles or do whatever you need to do. For a run, that does need to be in a straight line, and for a charge, it needs to be in a straight line, and you need to have line of sight to your target. So, so we're going to do a walk action with Claire. Her walk stat is 8 inches, so she can go up to 8 inches. So I am going to walk her 8 inches, actually not even, more like 5 inches, so that she's covering this node completely. So she'll cover the node at the bottom of the screen, and then she will spend another action point to activate that node. So the light players are in charge of that node. So that is the end of her activation. I would then take her card, turn it sideways. Or what is sideways on your screen? It would look like that. But yeah, it's just a good way of remembering what character has gone. So that's a very simple activation example using Claire. And now it is the dark player's turn to go. Okay, so it is the dark player's turn to go. And the dark faction player has decided to activate Alessa Raincross. So we're going to use a character that is already in stealth, and this character is going to perform an action, a special action here, called Dark Sniper. Okay, so this is it's going to cost her remaining 3 action points, because remember she spent 1 to go stealth. The distance is going to be 24 inches. This is a +5 attack, -4 armor. This attack cannot be intercepted by the shield maneuver to avoid reaching its target. This skill can only be used if Alessa is hidden. So, Alessa is going to fire at Kirsten, all the way there on the other side of the board. Why not? She'll fire at Kirsten. The 24-inch range, so let me go ahead and measure that shot. She's going to pay the 3 action points in order to execute the shot, and we are going to go into our attack versus defense mode between these two characters. Okay, so now that she's declared the shot, Kirsten has, the light player has quite a few options as far as defending, because in Anima Tactics, this is a very reactionary game. You can do quite a few different reactionary abilities. The main one of which is going to be to try and dodge. So Kirsten can spend 1 AP out of her activation to dodge. So she can spend that 1 AP, and she might as well decide to do that because this seems like a pretty nasty attack. In addition, we can use the Gnosis point. Now, what is the Gnosis point? I talked about that during the setup, that you get so many Gnosis points. In this case, we get 1 Gnosis point. And a Gnosis point is something that you can spend each turn. You can spend your allotment of Gnosis points each turn because it will refresh. And what a Gnosis point basically says is that when you spend your Gnosis point, anytime you're rolling a die, you get to roll a second die, or second d10, and take the better of the two rolls. So it's kind of like a, I guess, a positive state on that. So you would be able to take the better of the two rolls if you're going to use your Gnosis point. So she has the option to dodge, which she's going to take, which means that before the shot is rolled, Kristen has to make this decision. And she's going to decide to dodge, so not using Gnosis, but she does well, she rolls an 8, and we add that to her defensive stat. Okay, so her defensive stat is 9. So we're going to go 8 plus 9, which is 17. Okay, so now Alessa is going to have to tie or beat 17. Alright, so she's starting with a combat value of 4, and then plus 5 attack for using her Dark Sniper. So she's at 9 there. So in order to beat 17, well, she's also going to need an 8. This is quite a lot, and you can see how powerful a dodge can be when you roll well. So she rolls a 7. So unfortunately, the shot's going to miss. Not only that, though, to add insult to injury, she's going to lose her stealth ability, and so Alessa has lost stealth, and she's kind of in a vulnerable spot right now. Okay, so it's back to the light player's turn, and now the light player is going to activate Lorenzo. Now, Lorenzo is a very fun character because he has this mechanic called energy cells. So he gets the 3 energy cells. He got a 4th for taking Orb of Power, and he is going to declare a charge. Now, he didn't like the fact that Alessa Raincross there tried to fire at Kirsten. So what Lorenzo is going to do is he's going to declare a charge, and in doing the charge, he's also going to expend one of his power tokens. Now, what does the power token allow him to do, or the energy cell? It allows him to give him +2 to his attack, and the attack or charge causes throw. So this is a very powerful buff. Lorenzo's going big this time, and he's declared the charge. Now, a charge has to be in a straight line. It is going to cost Lorenzo 3 of his action points. So he's going to spend the 3. And he has to move in a straight line. And in this case, Lorenzo, super fast. He's going 16. Whoa. 16. 16. 16. He's going 16. Sorry, my camera decided not to show that. He's going to go 16 inches, and he's going to run all the way across the board here. And he has to make it in base to base. In this game, most melee range is base to base. So he's coming across all the way over to here. Now, one thing that can be done, if you look at his path here, there is a player right here, Xavier, who might be within 2 inches of that path of the charge. I don't believe he is, which is why I didn't declare it, but I'll show you what that's like just in case that happened. So you can intercept charges in this game, which is really, really cool. So let's back up a sec, and I will show you that. Okay, so like I said, Anima Tactics has some really cool reactionary type of things. And so what we have here is we have Lorenzo making a charge against Alessa. And if Mr. Xavier there is within 2 inches of that charge path, and I moved him over a little bit because I knew he was not, but for the sake of argument and the sake of this demo, I'm going to say he is. He can step into the path of the charge, which is awesome, and it's one of my favorite things about this game. So he's going to step in the path of the charge, like that, and then in which case he becomes the full recipient of the charge. Now, for an intercept like that, it is a free action, meaning it's not going to cost Xavier any AP to do this. And in fact, he might even spend an AP in order to dodge the charge. So, you know what? This is a demo. It's more fun. I'm going to say it happened that way. I hope you guys are cool with it, because we'll see some standard combat and standard charges here in a minute. So, Xavier is the subject of the charge. Lorenzo is going to declare that he's using his Gnosis point, so the light side is going all in through the power counter, the energy cell down, and is saying that they're using the Gnosis point. Actually, no. Sorry, not going to use the Gnosis point. I'm going to save that for something else. But Xavier is going to step in, and he is going to spend 1 AP on the dodge. So there goes the 1 AP, and here's Xavier's dodge roll. It's not so hot. It's only a 3. So that's going to be 3 plus his defense of 9, which is going to be 12. Okay? So Xavier's starting at a 12. Lorenzo is going to get some serious bonuses here. So, Lorenzo, starting with an attack of 4. He spent an energy cell. That gives him +2 attack. So now he's at 6. And then this is a charge. So now he's at +2 on the charge. In addition, he is going to get basically a Gnosis for free, pretty much. So, because when you charge, you get to roll 2d10 and take the better of the 2 rolls. So once again, Lorenzo, base attack 4, plus energy cell 6, plus charge 8. So he's starting with an 8. So in order to hit Xavier's value of 12, all Lorenzo needs to do is he needs to make a roll of 4 or more, and he's got 2 dice to do it. So this is pretty nasty. So there we go. He rolls a 4 and a 5, so he did actually make it. So let's go ahead and calculate the damage, which in this case is going to cause a throw.